Welcome to the Work Trends Podcast, brought to you by Talent Culture. I'm your host, Megan M. Bureau. Each episode, I interview really smart people who are reimagining the world of work. Be sure to stay current with all of our insightful podcasts by visiting our page at Talent Culture Work Trends on Apple Podcast or Spotify. And of course, you can listen at talentculture.com on the podcast page. Hello and welcome to the Talent Culture Work Trends Podcast, sponsored by Harbinger Group. I'm your host, Megan M. Bureau. Today we are diving into how AI is reshaping HR tech and what that really means beyond the hype. Our guest brings a long view of the space, from point solutions to today's platform shift. We talk about why connected data is now mission critical, what leaders should be rethinking in their tech stacks, and where the real opportunities are emerging. Plus, a look at how all of this is starting to change the way HR teams actually work and make decisions every day. But before we begin, here's a quick gut check. Are you actually using AI in your organization yet? And when you think about it, are you more excited by the opportunity, or are you overwhelmed by how to integrate it into your tech stack? I mean, let's get real. We are excited to be joined by Shrikant Patatil, President and Chief Technology Officer of Harbinger Group. Shrikant has spent more than 2 decades at Harbinger Group, leading everything from offshore development to sales and marketing as the industry evolved from client-server to cloud and now AI. Today, he works closely with HR and learning organizations to solve integration and automation challenges, helping teams make their tech stacks actually work together. A recognized voice in the e-learning space, he has contributed to industry standards, built products like Harbinger's offline content player, which is super exciting. Welcome, Shri. We are thrilled to have you here to unpack what everyone is talking about here in the talent culture community and around the world, but not everyone fully understands how AI is disrupting the HR tech industry. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Megan. Look forward to the conversation.
Absolutely. So let's dive right in. Tell me, Shri, what is fundamentally changing as HR tech moves from these point solutions to more integrated AI-driven platforms?
Based on what I've seen in the last couple of years, and with AI, things have been changing every 3 to 6 months. But fundamentally, what I believe what is changing is the unit value in HR and HR tech. For years, the differentiation, if you look at the B2B SaaS world, came from features like ATS workflows, better LMS capabilities, engagement dashboards, and so forth. But with AI, especially generative AI, features are getting rapidly commoditized. Today, one can say that a small team can replicate most point features very quickly. So, what I think is that the advantage has shifted to maybe 3 things. One is the data scale and continuity, ability to build workflows and orchestrate that across HR life cycle. And the third is ability to drive decisions, not just transactions. That's where platforms are gaining ground. They reduce the friction across the various point solutions like hiring, onboarding, development, etc. And a similar shift has happened in other industries like the CRM and finance world, though in the non-AI world, where platforms like Salesforce and so forth disrupted the tools market.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, with AI now it's coming to very strongly in the HR world as well.
Oh, for sure. And I have to say, this really resonates. There is so much curiosity around AI right now, but also some significant uncertainty about what it takes to actually make it work. So these are very helpful starting points. Why does AI require unified end-to-end employee data to deliver this real value? And what breaks when that context isn't there for teams?
Yeah, I mean, most people mistakes from an AI perspective is that AI just needs data, right? However, what AI needs in addition to data, it needs context. And in HR, what we believe the context is inherently end to end. An employee's skills, performance, learning, engagement, all are interconnected. If AI only sees fragments, it can give you fragmented insights.
Ooh, we don't like that,
Yeah,
right?
that's the whole point. Therefore, what happens, Megan, is when you unify this data, you will reduce the hallucinations, because now the model is more grounded in terms of the enterprise's context, and you will get more ability to build or enable workflows, not just insights but actually take actions as well. And you preserve the whole continuity
Yeah.
and governance, which is critical in the HR world.
You know, Shri, my biggest frustration right now, and by the way, what you're saying is huge, and I think a lot of leaders are eager to move on AI, but don't always realize how very dependent it is on having the right data foundation in place to begin with. So, knowing this, what should HR leaders be rethinking right now about their tech stack in light of this shift?
Megan, that's a very interesting point, because whenever we are talking about technology, we only think about the vendors, right? How they should create and how they should think. But with AI, the onus is also on the HR leaders, because they are the one who are making the buying decision. So I feel, they need to make a major shift from what they've been doing in terms of buying tools to designing the whole information architecture, right? And there are two clear paths in which they can do it. One is they could consolidate into a unified platform that covers the whole employee life cycle, or probably 90% of it, and then create that architecture. The second thing is, if they already invested in a lot of tools, technologies they've recently bought, maybe what they need to invest in is to build a common data layer and let the applications plug into it, where the single source of truth is there. So that's what HR leaders need to rethink about.
Mm-hmm. And I like, Shri, that we're not making it super complicated right now. It's like, okay, we have this path and we have that path. What are you prioritizing? And I think it's a great reminder to everybody out there in the community right now. Leaders are being pushed to move fast, and there's a real balance between agility and thoughtfulness that matters here. So let me ask you this. Are we heading towards platform dominance, or is there still a future for best in class point solutions?
Based on what I'm hearing in the industry and what I've seen, many platform companies, their strategies, in the short term, medium term, I think platforms will have an advantage, because they control things like the amount of data they have, the ability to do various workflows, and also they have the distribution channels when it comes to distributing niche AI applications, or integrating them and taking it across platforms very quickly. That said, point solutions will not disappear. I'm sure there're going to be great ideas that come up. However, the bar is probably much higher now.
Yeah,
So in order to stay relevant, I think point solutions need to have a bigger data moat, right? I mean, a unique differentiator in terms of something unique about
yeah.
doing with the data, with the HR information, and which is kind of, they can keep it to themselves and not have AI just replicate it.
Let me ask you this, Shri. You just said the word in it. It was right by data, and it was bigger. What do you mean in context of bigger here for data? What does that mean to you, Shri, in the world?
When it comes to data and we say, okay, data is bigger, Megan, what we are referring to is, we are now collecting a lot of information, right,
Yeah,
across various things, tools, applications, everywhere. So there is a lot of data that needs to be processed, cleaned, curated,
yeah,
because you don't want to make decisions based on just irrelevant data or incorrect data. So data sets are going to grow higher and bigger, and processing and managing them is going to get more and more complex. And therefore, going back to this point about point solutions, the kind of data and infrastructure that they have to manage and the scale might be much bigger than what traditional SaaS platforms or niche solutions are.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it is not as binary as it used to be. Platforms are really becoming the backbone, but there's still a role for specialized solutions, I believe. They just have to plug in and add real, and real is something that I'm emphasizing intelligence,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. And specialization, right? Specialization in terms of the depth. So if somebody is doing an onboarding solution, then they cannot just have a few workflows and features, for example. They should probably have something inherently they do with the enterprise's data, with other systems that are there, create their own dynamic suggestions, recommendations, and stuff like that, which is ingrained in some sort of a framework or with some sort of a domain expertise, which the generic platforms are not offering. So, for example, somebody specializes in a healthcare.
Right. Exactly. I was just going to say, I'm glad you said that, right? Because they don't always offer that. And I want to
Yeah,
make sure everybody understands that.
that I think point solutions can invest heavily in and build a sort of a capability. Or but what they were doing traditionally, they were not doing that as much, but they need to now go deeper and deeper in the domains of their expertise.
Right. So, Shri, where is the real opportunity for founders right now? Because these are exciting times. Is it building full platforms or becoming that intelligence layer across all of them? What do you think?
The biggest opportunity is not just building another platform, but owning some critical layers in this AI stack. One is, of course, the data infrastructure. The second is what we call the intelligence layer. Like, how do you do your recommendations or analytics and stuff like that? And the third is how seamlessly you make the workflows, right? In terms of how do you orchestrate that and make it easy for end customers to create new customized solutions on top of your platform. In short, it's not what app they build that needs to shift from that perspective to what unique data or intelligence does the platform deliver. So I think that shift,
Mm-hmm.
most
Mm-hmm.
platform companies or even niche solution builders will need to make.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is big insights. I mean, the opportunity isn't just in building something new, it's making existing systems work better, adding this layer of intelligence that actually drives value for HR, for anything that you're trying to accomplish in that system. So, looking ahead, Shri, how does AI actually change the way HR teams operate and make decisions day to day?
Yeah, again, a very interesting question, and depending upon who you ask, the you may get the same answer or very different perspectives. So, I was talking to a HR practitioner a few months back, and the feeling that I got was that what they're trying to do is say that, okay, these are my current set of processes. How do I embed AI and make it operationally efficient? Now, that may be a next 2 to 3 months sort of a goal, and they may be right in doing that. However, the larger thing that they need to think about is this whole human agent operating model, right? And when I'm thinking about my whole the model itself or the basic premise in how I did HR or how I executed or enabled it is going to change. I probably need to rewrite some of my processes before I start to embed AI in the whole system. So it's not like the people are already like productive. How do I make add agents and make them more productive? Inherently, what you may have to think is now agents are going to do the job. So how are humans going to be integrated in that so that it becomes even better, right?
Yeah, well, there you go.
It is like moving away from making things like humans using AI tools to probably humans supervising AI systems.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's a relationship.
True.
The more you lean in, and this is a story for all of us, okay? I'm not going to get into relationships right now because that I would need another 20,000 hours, but I will say you have to lean into it and you have to create meaning, right? I don't care what it is in your life, in relationships, whether it's your relationship to technology, your relationship with your partner, whatever that is, lean in and learn. And that's what I'm hearing. I mean, I have to tell you, this has been a really great conversation, Shri. And I think it really helps demystify what can feel like a complicated space. Scary, ooh, AI, but we know the perspective you and the Harbinger team bring is incredibly valuable, and it's super exciting to see how you're helping move the industry forward in a meaningful way. Here are a few of my key takeaways. Number one, AI in HR isn't just about new tools, it's about having connected data. Without a unified end to end view of the employee lifecycle, even the most advanced, fancy AI is not going to deliver meaningful results. Number two, the future isn't as simple as platform or point solution. It's how they work together. Platforms are becoming the foundation, but real value comes from adding intelligence that makes those systems smarter and more actionable. And number three, there's a real balance HR leaders need to strike right now. Move with agility, but be willing to experiment, but stay grounded in the end goal. The organizations that will get the most from AI, I believe, are the ones that think critically about where they're going and map their tech decisions accordingly. Do me a favor, everyone. Don't get into reactive mode with this. This is no time. As always, I want to thank each and every one of you for listening to the Work Trends podcast, the place to find meaningful connections at and about work. If you love what we do here, make sure to share this podcast with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Send me a question on the socials using the hashtag WorkTrends. See you soon. Thanks for joining us for today's conversation. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I love learning something new in each and every episode. Just a reminder that you can listen to all of the Work Trends podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and the podcast page at talentculture.com or your favorite podcast platform. Be sure to subscribe so you can listen on the go and stay up to date on all the latest news you want to hear. I look forward to catching up with y'all next time, and I hope today's information made you wiser, happier, more informed, and most importantly, thinking of how you can use it to improve the quality of your career, your life, and your world of work.